I'm Erica Wise, and I'm here at Anime Midwest 2023. Joining me today is one of our guests, Jay Hickman.
Hello.
Who's clearly very excited to be here.
Accurate.
So you've been voice acting since the 1990s.
That's correct.
How has it changed since then?
In a couple key ways. I think, first of all, the fan base has grown exponentially from what we knew back then. And I think, too, with that, the content of the stuff we're producing has also adapted, also evolved. So it's become more complex. I think within this art form of anime, we're seeing many, many more genres than we had back then.
Well, it also seems like things are just getting churned out much quicker nowadays, too.
Well, there's more production. I think when I was starting, there's
more of a budget for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know, for years and years, when something would release in Japan, we might get a dub 3 years later. But, anymore, they're practically simultaneously doing dubs.
Yeah, there's a lot more production on the U.S. side. There are more studios that are interested in doing this now, and so
there's money in it now.
Yeah, they're able to do it faster, and everything sort of feeds into itself.
So, do you watch the anime that you appear in, that you voice in?
Some of it I do. I don't always get a chance, just because, as you said, they're churning things out quickly. So I will be, I might be able to be a lead role in a certain anime, and then I'm a bit part in 3 others. And so
all at the same time.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it takes a couple hours to record a bit part in like the first half of a series, maybe. And so that'll be out there. And so I might devote some time to watch the anime that I'm a lead in and not yet get to the bit part stuff. So and the bit part might become popular for all I know. And so people will be like, I love, Soldier B in the XYZ show.
You gotta push all the heroes and everyone aside. It's like that gremlin that showed up in one episode. That's the fan favorite.
Somehow that becomes the fan favorite. And so sometimes people ask me about being the gremlin. I'll be like, please remind me.
That sure was a role I did in a few hours months ago.
Right.
So you're in some really old anime, Elfen Lied, Excel Saga, which I feel like me and 10 other people have seen.
Okay. I've met 11.
Oh, okay.
Can't wait to introduce you.
Oh, good. I need more people to talk about Excel Saga with. How has anime changed? Like, not the production side of it, but like the actual content.
Yeah.
How do you think that's changed from the 90s?
Yeah, as alluded earlier, I think there are many more genres that are being represented now within anime. When I started, there was a lot of magical girl stuff. There was a lot of mech stuff.
Yep.
There was some harem shows.
Yep.
And
I can think of which ones immediately.
Yeah. And a little bit of like Sorcerer Hunter. Elfen Lied was an outlier in its kind of approach to horror, but
it was kind of a weird choice.
I think lots of people would agree.
Like, because in the 90s, very specific animes were the only things that they wanted to dub. As you said, there wasn't very many genres explored. And I feel like Elfen Lied was a weird choice because it felt like they tended to pick shows that they thought they could, appeal to children.
Yep.
They didn't do a whole lot of adult anime.
Right.
I feel like back in the 90s.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. I mean, these days we're seeing a little of everything. And there's a lot more rom-coms. There's a lot more slice of life. There's more horror.
I'm a big horror anime fan.
Yeah. And so, really we're seeing everything. And I think, what I've heard is that the industry in Japan that is producing this stuff is keeping American audiences in mind when they're thinking about what's next. And so I think based on what American audiences consume, both in forms of anime from the early days and in any other sort of kind of popular content, they're cluing into that, like, oh, American audiences like to see this or this or this, like, let's produce that sort of thing. So I think the evolution is coming partly from that.
Oh, I imagine. When we were last in Japan speaking with some of our producer friends, they're always so surprised to hear what is popular here in America, because things that don't do very well in Japan will explode here. and they don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah, I think it's a big learning process, and so I think we're seeing that played out in what arrives on our shores and what arrives on our TV screens. There's such a kind of diversity of content types, and I think it comes from that. Like we're still learning kind of.
Yeah, they're kind of like just send everything to the Americans and see what sticks.
And to your point, that 10 people have seen Excel Saga. I think that there is an audience for absolutely everything.
Yes, absolutely.
No matter what you produce, there will be at least 10 people that love it, and so it's a matter of like finding that happy kind of that magical realm where.
And it's definitely you have your cult classics where a lot of people didn't like them, but a few people were like, this is my favorite thing of all time. And how do you balance that with things that are going to have a more like broad appeal, like things like My Hero or it's so wild to.
It's wild, and there's to your point, there's a place in the market for that niche stuff, and so I think the people that are producing this and looking to make it a billable item are saying like, this might not be a My Hero, but it will be a cult classic, something with a cult following that will just continue.
Well, and I feel like a lot of old fans, they're tired of seeing the magical girls, the shonens, the all the stuff. The market was super saturated back, when I was growing up in the 90s.
Yeah.
So now we want to consume that more niche media. For our last question, to finish on a silly note.
Oh boy.
So I've been told you like to sing karaoke.
True. Accurate.
So what's your go-to song? Like, what is your song that you do? It's like asking someone what their favorite movie is.
Yeah, or their favorite child. It's I don't know. It really depends on the crowd and the mood, like where I'm sitting in the moment. But I have been called upon frequently to do Sinatra, Dean Martin lounge type stuff.
Ooh.
Because that's from my performative history. Like I was the front man of a swing band
really?
A couple decades ago. So there was lots of Sinatra. So normally if the crowd is in the mood for it, like an enormous torch song, it'll be Sinatra's My Way.
That's a crowd pleaser.
Kills them every time.
Yeah, that's a good strong ending. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Of course, pleasure.
Where can people see you this weekend?
This weekend I've got a couple things popping. I will have a panel this evening, my J. Hickman Q&A, and then tonight, on Friday night, per your note, we are doing karaoke with the guests at 10 o'clock. People will need to refer to their schedules. I don't have all the panel rooms memorized. And then tomorrow night, Saturday night, is a screening called When Good Dubs Go Bad, which I will be hosting, which is a lot of fun.
That sounds like that sounds up my alley. That sounds like a good time. All right, well, thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.